Monthly close is here and we just saw some volatility, the price action dropping. Now look at Bitcoin and its price structure. Be honest with yourself. Did it show you that it is going to do this? Yes, absolutely, it did. Like just few days back, when we were doing this, I told you guys, okay, maybe I'll be wrong, but I think the negative divergence coming in to a hidden bullish divergence is something which we have seen in the recent past. Yeah. And that's exactly why I was arguing, guys, look for volatility. 31st to 3rd. Now you still have a couple of days for the weekly close is here. Monthly close is here. Now what? So weekly close is going to come in just 24 hours. So you already got the monthly. Next is weekly and then a 3-day candle. So this is going to be something interesting. Now, if you do keep your eyes focused on here, this is Bitcoin. You're not surprised, yeah? The volatility in here didn't kill you. The Bitcoin dominance is still playing out inside this pattern. Do I like it? No, I certainly don't. But what I do like and what's very optimistic for the alt market is the fact that the monthly candle itself closed as a doji, which is inverted hammer with increasing volume of selling pressure. That means some of the altcoins, they are going to outperform in this market. Now, don't expect it to give you a 10, 20, 50x. It most likely won't do that. Rather, you can be prepared and you can take the right decent profit and avoid the ones which may break further down. Yeah. If you think about XRP, I was very serious and honest with you guys saying, if you guys are in this, take these seriously. And that was like, a week back. Now, look at the price action. I mean, ask yourself, does that make a lot of sense? That resistance trend line has been there. You are getting rejected, getting rejected, getting rejected. So right now you're doing that. Now you put that on a line chart and take the decision. Yeah. Right now you don't have a bullish divergence. So unless you make a bullish divergence, it's very hard to say, okay, I'm going back in heavy in that asset. Yeah. Now let's actually break the market down in an easy way so you know what to expect for the month of June and July. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. We are in June and we already have updated assets after assets. And look at last 48 to 74 hours, you're watching a lot of these updates in front of you for the SI family. And all of them are like this. You look at this, the thought process shared a week back, 3 months back. You look at the market right now, it shows you, whoa, this guy gave you the right information to take the best possible decisions for your portfolio. Now, what next? Yeah, you look at different assets. Say, we'll pick up Ether for a moment. You go look at Ether here, you're watching a lot of dojis. And you're like, okay, we are above the moving average. We're making a lot of dojis. Fine. Last time we had a MACD cross, we only had one doji. Before that, when we had a MACD cross, we had 2 dojis. So yeah, the price action plays like this. You go back in multiple cycles to see how the whales play with you in these regions at these reversal points. Yeah, you're one leg up before the reversal, but then they get trapped. Now, if you do not understand what that trap means, you will have to come on a monthly. Look at the monthly chart. The price is still pushing back higher. That hammer, the doji, that showed you the price is about to go up. Now watch, you had a hammer and a continuation candle here. Look what happened after that. Yeah, so same, you have a hammer and a continuation candle in here. That continuation candle back in time, this is monthly Ether chart showing you October 2023, it closed just below the moving average. That's almost exactly what we have now. And then it continued to move to the upside. Now, do I think the upside is going to be enormous? it's going to go 6,000, 10,000. Odds are less with what we can see in the market, especially when the Bitcoin says, I'm going to go into a bear market. Yeah. This is what you have to keep in your mind. So maybe it's 3,500, maybe it's 4,000, but until a negative divergence shows up on a 3-day chart, at least, you don't have to worry. Or at least you see 2-3 negative divergence coming up on the daily chart, which is something to look at. Now, one thing which you have to keep in mind is last time we had a negative divergence, March 2024, the price dropped. Yeah, and that's on a daily, not on a weekly, so you didn't start a bear market. But the price did not reverse until you reach this point. That's a 50% drop. Fine. The next time you had a negative divergence was December 2024 to Jan. Now, the price dropped 60%. Yeah. So right now, I'm watching a daily chart showing me a negative divergence. The price is slightly going up and the RSI is dropping. So I'm like, okay. So I'm not expecting 6,000 in here. Rather, after 1, 2, 3, I would just look for a ABC and a continuation move like this, not exponential move to the upside. Now, why still to the upside when you have a daily negative divergence playing out again and again? Yeah. Here on a 3-day, what you have is a bullish divergence. Yeah. Last time you had a bullish divergence, yes, it's true, you fluctuated there before you moved up. Yeah. Before that, when you had the negative bullish divergence, you fluctuated there before you went up. Yeah. Now, the total number of days of that fluctuation from the bullish divergence is what matters. Now, think about this. The price actually went up already. So that fluctuation was not there. It went up immediately. Yeah. The confirmation of the bullish divergence was here. It still maneuvered around 50 days. Here we are. We just went up. Good. Now, where are you? This, I think, is what's happening. Now, if you plot this, you already know we talked about this back in time, maybe a month back, saying there can be negative divergence. Yeah, on a 3-day too. And then if that ends up as a hidden bullish divergence on a 3-day itself, we got to go back in. Now watch, that was a 20% drop on a 3-day chart. To do that, fine. So think about the daily, it would be highly, heavily volatile. Now in here, you do not yet have a 20% drop. So you haven't done that yet. Whereas on a 3-day chart, if you're plotting this, you can say, okay, the 1, the 2 should be there, and then there should be a 3. And that is where I'm concerned. Like when we do this correction, its completion, and go for the third, will we make a negative divergence? Which I don't know at this point. Yeah, no one knows. Now, that's a 3-day, you step back. You step back to a weekly. Now, Ether will matter a lot more for a lot of these altcoins, especially the ERC20s and the alt market in general. So with Bitcoin, I think it would make more sense to do a detailed analysis on Ether. Yeah, that's why we are here. Now watch this. The trend line formation on a weekly is very close to its resistance. So it has another push to the upside, and the MACD just crossed to the upside near that resistance. So I'm like, okay, can we do this? Yeah, the monthly still looks okay. It looks bullish. It's not bad. The weekly is still pushing to the upside. It's above the moving average, and you're consolidating in like this. So that's not a bad option. We've seen those kind of moves before, and then one more leg up before you drop. Yeah, those kind of move before, one more leg up before you drop. So we're reaching that territory where it's not bad. You can take the positive decision if you want to, but if you really don't take that at this point, the market can confuse you in a lot of different ways. What do I mean? Say if I take another asset, this is Cardano. Watch this. When Cardano went up with that call of, the reserve basket addition, blah, 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 I told you guys, if you're in this, sell. That negative divergence which came in and got extended, is not good. The price came back up to this region, but the RSI dropped like nuts. Did I say that? Yeah. So that's what I was arguing. Like now your trend line support is now if you are positive on the utility of this asset, watch this. This is the trend line as a support. Plot this. This is 0.4. Now that's another 50% drop from where you are now, right? So you have to think, why are these assets showing this? And that's exactly what I was arguing. Price going up, RSI saying I'm not doing that. Cool. So you have to keep this on the basic sense, understanding the possibility of what we are looking at. So right now, that trend line should hold. If it does not, it's a concern. It's a big concern. Now, yes, you can go on a monthly and look at what exactly is happening. And the monthly is arguing, yes, I dropped. I'm still holding above the moving average. I would like to go back up. So on a monthly, you still have something which is higher highs, higher lows, which is trending higher. But even to maintain that and still go up, you can come back down to this point, yeah, and then go back up. But the trouble is, most want to make the money here right now, yeah. They go in highly levered 5x, 10x, 20x. If you're doing that with 1% or 5% of your portfolio, that's a different story. But when you take 10, 20, 40% of your portfolio to do that, it is a concern. So literally, you need to look at the market in a way that I'm looking at it with all different aspects. Once the price drops to its average corrective length, I would consider an asset. Yeah. Now, look at this. The price of this asset did drop. Did you have a negative divergence on a 3-day? You did not. Now, you go on a daily and look at this. The drop started with the micro negative divergence in here and an extension of the negative divergence. So the daily showed you a couple of negative divergence and the price started correcting back down. Good. Now, what's the point? If you look at this, we're still close to this region. Yeah. But watch this, the RSI dropped like this. So on a daily, it's slowly showing buyers are stepping back in. Now, if you're trying to time the market, you may have to wait until this reaches this point. But sometimes that's not what you really want. Yeah. So you need to keep your eyes focused and understand what the market is showing you. Now, in general, if you pick up the total alt market in here, put it on a monthly to see, okay, what exactly happened with the monthly close. This is where you are. Now, honestly, you don't want a monthly candle coming back below this, which is the next month. So if the month of June actually does this and closes below 810 billion, the serious concern, this very, very serious concern. I mean, we are then going into this region saying, oh, but I'm going down into a bear market. Yeah. But as of now, if you look at the individual candles, you don't have that. What you do have is an inverted hammer, then a bullish hammer, then another inverted hammer. All of them signals a bullish move in the market. Now that can be like this. That's okay. If you come back down to 810, 12 and still hold the monthly day and then bounce back higher, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, you can actually do that. So that's the monthly. Now you put that on a weekly chart. And this is what you actually see on a weekly. So right here, right now, when you're looking at the weekly, you don't have to be concerned. You are literally watching what the market is doing. So basically, if you plot this, you'll see something like this. That is the trend line resistance. Now, to be accurate, you can use a line chart and then connect it. So line chart argues what I am doing is a breakout and a retest. Now, if I go back in history and try to plot it, it would certainly look like this. There was a fake out initially, and then when I really did the break, retest and a bounce, that was good. Now, what are the factors concerning that? The RSI's retest only happened here, not in the fake out. So you have the RSI retest right now. So that says, okay, we are not here, most likely we are here. Then I pick the MACD. The MACD is saying I was trying to cross to the upside in here, not back in here, which is good. So the total alt market aligns with something close to October, November 2024. Perfect. Now watch, we are kind of well close to that point. That's a privilege to be in the market, understanding, okay, we are there. So the first thing you, literally can do is look for a bullish divergence on a daily chart, at least if you're not zooming into a 4-hour, 12-hour. This is at least something you should look at. Now, if you are involved in the market, you have time in the market, then think about this. The 12-hour chart, which is a breakdown of the daily, is already showing you this. These kind of candles usually shows, okay, there can be a retest, but I don't care, I'm going to go back up. Yeah, these kind of candles does give you that idea. Now, look at the average drop in this asset. That was a 20% drop, and this in here is 11% drop. Yeah, so when you're coming down, each drop is around 20%, so your momentum is to the downside. When you're going up, you're trending higher, making higher highs, higher lows. What's the downside? That was a 10.45%. That was 11.2%. So you literally see, depending on the trend, the downside is smaller. Say, if it's this time around, you just saw somewhere around 7%, 5%, and then here 12%. That's okay. That's decent. That is how things actually work in the market. And especially when you take a breather, this is something you need to consider. There was a 15% drop in here, but that was a local top. Now, after such a local drop, I want you to focus here. If you're in the SI family and you're not new here, break this. Yeah, pause this, understand this. You form something like this, which says I'm going to go down, and then immediately go up. So you had something exactly similar which played out in here. But what mattered in all of those scenarios was the hidden bullish divergence. So focus on that. If the market is playing out in that manner, you don't want to get screwed. Now, how would you look for that? Fine. We'll zoom back and look at what exactly is happening in here. Watch this. The price came back down to this bottom. Yeah, we'll delete all of them. Now watch this. Yeah, the price came back down to this bottom. So if you put the bottom of the RSI went way lower. Cool. So the selling pressure went in so hard, but they failed to push the price back down. This is basics. Keep the basics, stick to the basics, you're gonna do great. You don't need fancy indicators, you don't need fancy things in the market. You only have to understand the language of this land of candlesticks. Yeah, now we go to the next one. Like whichever one you pick, you kind of get the exact same thing. Now here the price put in a new low, but the RSI was saying, no man, I'm not doing that, I'm going up. That's a bullish divergence, yeah, on a daily. So basically, when the price says I'm going down and the RSI says I'm going up, it's a bullish divergence. When the price says I'm not forming a new low, but the RSI says I am, that's a hidden bullish divergence. Don't get confused with the negative sentiment at the bottom. You get the negative divergence at the top, making a top, not the bottom. This is intended to make things easier for you. Yeah. Now, I'll be traveling back to India, so there can be a bit of a delay, maybe second. You may not get a video, but on third, even if I reach home at 5, 6 after 30 hours of flight, I'll still do the video. Yeah, one way or the other, I'm going to make it. So you guys are not in dark. For the monthly, you're updated. For the weekly, you're almost updated right here, right now. And the weekly close will only come tomorrow morning, and I'll be posting everything in the Patreon, even in flight, don't worry. And then on the 3rd, you get the 3-day candle close, and I'll be updating you back with another video. But if it's me, I will look at this market and argue that, yeah, the market slowed down, But all that it's doing is the 1, 2, 3 impulse to the upside, followed by its ABC correction. I talked to you guys through before this came in. Now, watch for the next something like this. Now, I don't know whether it's going to be like this or bigger or something crazy. I really don't know. What we can do is to follow the market as it is and see if it agrees. See if it agrees with the negative divergence. Because what you have is a double bottom, breakout, retest. If you bounce and get rejected here, okay, there is going to be a negative divergence. Wrap it up, take your profits, exit. So if you guys did receive value, smash that like button for me, yeah? And if you want to join the party, make sure you are in the SI family where you get absolutely right information. And this is the only crypto family which was well informed without hype. And that's the key reason why you see this views below 1,500, below 2,000. Why? 95% of the market does not make money. They want the hype. They want to listen to something that says the price is about to blast to 5x, 10x. Oh, that's a dream. Yeah, that's a dream come true. But I'm not here to sell that dream. Rather, I want to make sure if you do follow these and understand this and take decisions. We had 27 millionaires last time, yeah? I want to make sure you guys come out as 50 millionaires in the SI family. And if it's 100, I'm happy. But I want to make sure you guys do that. And those who already reached that million, I want you guys to compound. And we're going to do that together.